Hi guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I thought we'd do another recipe from the Fallout Cookbook. This time we're going to do a dessert, the Mississippi Quantum Pie. It's actually pretty good. I tried it out at Thanksgiving time and it turned out really well, so I thought I would make it again and record it for you guys so you can try it for yourselves. The first thing we actually need to do is our crust, and that is 20 ounces or 1 pound of Oreo cookie type cookies, the chocolate cream type cookies, 2/3 cup walnuts, and 5 tablespoons of butter. And then what you want to do is put those in like a food processor and chop them up really well, and then add your butter into it while it's still in the food processor, and you'll get like a real fine crumb with it. Then you want to line your springform pan, a 9-inch springform pan, with parchment paper, bottom and the sides, and you'll spray it first, and then it'll help the paper stick to the sides. And then just pour your crumbs in and form them through around the bottom and then up the sides. And this one's already been baked at 375 for 10 minutes. And then the reason I went ahead and did it is it needs to cool before we can put our pudding mixture in it. So that is busy doing that. And we will move on to the pudding mixture. Let me get this out of the way. And to start, we need 2/3 cup of heavy cream, 5 egg yolks. I hope you can see those. My light's kind of wonky in here. Let me see if I can turn it down a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Not much, but it's a little bit better. But I've got 5 egg yolks in here. We also need 1 cup of granulated sugar that we're going to divide into 1/4 cup and then 3/4 cup on the side. The 1/4 cup is going to go in here with the eggs. And let me check my recipe real quick. Yeah, and then the heavy cream. Whoops. And 1/3 cup of cornstarch. Alright, let's get that out of our way. And then all we want to do is mix this really good. You want to make sure your cornstarch gets well incorporated now while everything is cold, because if you put it into your hot mixture while it's still lumpy, you'll never get the lumps out, and then you'll have a lumpy pudding base. And this may take a little bit of time. It's okay. We're not in a rush to get this done. We want to make sure we end up with a good product, so take your time. You might have to let it set and then come back to it. The important thing is just to make sure that before you add your hot mixture to it that you've worked out all your lumps. And if you need to, you can use a whisk. I'm just going to use a fork for right now. If I think I need it, I'll get my whisk out. And of course we'll stir this again before we add the hot mixture, because the cornstarch will settle to the bottom and start to clump back up again the longer it sets. But it's all good. It'll all work out. And we're almost there. There's still a few, but I'll keep working on this as we get the other half of the pudding mixture together. Alright, let me get you over to the stove where you can watch the next part. And we'll be right back. Alright guys, now that we're over here, I've got in this pan on the stove 2.5 cups of milk, and to this we are going to add 3/4 cup cocoa powder, and the other 3/4 cup of sugar. And we're also going to add 1 and... No, I'm sorry. We're going to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt to this. And then we just want to sit here and whisk it. We want the sugar to start to dissolve and the cocoa powder to melt into the milk. And this is going to take a little bit. The warmer it gets, the more it will start to incorporate into the milk. And like the other half of the mixture, it just takes a little bit of patience. Homemade pudding is really easy. And not really all that long to do. And it tastes really, really good. Much better than the stuff you get out of a package. Once this is slightly warm, we're going to add 3/4 cup of dark chocolate chips to this. This is a very, very rich chocolate pudding. Yeah, there we go. See, it's already starting to incorporate in. The most important thing when melting chocolate or making pudding on the stove is to remember to not let your heat get too high and to always whisk, because if you don't, the bottom will burn or your milk will scald and it'll be ruined, and you'll have to either start all over again or try again a different day. I think we've got that in really good. So now we just need to let this start coming up to lukewarm, just enough that we can put our chocolate chips in. And alright, as you can see, it's starting to heat up. I got a little bit of smoke rising off of it, and I'm going to go ahead and add our chocolate chips to it. And again, this is 3/4 of a cup of dark chocolate chips, and just add them slowly. You don't want to get burnt by the milk if it splashes. And you can see they're melting really quickly. Now once these are melted, we're going to do something called tempering our eggs. And what that is adding a little bit of the hot liquid into our egg mixture to just kind of get the eggs used to the temperature of the milk. But we don't want our milk like super, super hot right now, or we'll scramble the eggs and it'll ruin your pudding. And I think we've got that pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is actually turn the heat down right now. And let me grab our egg mixture. And we've got it pretty well lump free. I'm actually going to take the whisk one final time and go through it just to make sure I've got all the lumps out. There might be a few tiny ones that the whisk should be able to just smooth right out. And again, the cornstarch was going to start settling to the bottom, and we just want to get that all well incorporated again. So now what we want to do is we're going to take a small spoonful, probably about a half a cup, and while we're whisking over here, we're going to slowly pour the chocolate mixture in. And as long as you keep this moving the entire time, it should be fine. Your eggs will not become overheated. And plus, with the milk being the heavy cream being in there, that's going to add a little bit of a buffer to your eggs and help keep them from scrambling on you. Alright, now we want to do one more. And again, just keep it moving the entire time. Way. Okay, now that we've done that, I'm going to move this. Give it a quick stir, make sure everything's doing okay in there. Alright, now I'm going to turn the heat back up. And I'm going to do the same thing this way by whisking in the egg mixture into the rest of the hot pudding. And we just want to keep it moving. And as long as we do that, our eggs will be fine. Let me get the bowl scraped down and out of your way so you guys can see. And now the main thing is we need to just stir this until it thickens. Again, always keep it moving. And don't let it boil over, or you don't want to leave it unattended because it will burn. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to thicken up really nicely. And now that we're at this stage, it's like the whisk is getting really hard to move through. I turned the heat down to like a medium just to keep it from bubbling, because if it starts to splatter, you'll get burnt. And I think we are good. So I'm going to turn the heat off. And what I want to do now is we're going to add, If you need to, you can remove it completely from the heat. It's okay. Alright, get that out of our way. And next what we're going to add is 4 tablespoons of butter and 1 3/4 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And this will kind of help give it a rich silky feeling and look. And this won't take long at all. It'll kind of thin your pudding down just a little, but then it'll stiffen back up. After we get this in, we'll put it in our pie shell and put it in the refrigerator for a good 6 to 12 hours or overnight. And then we'll do the topping. So let me get this well incorporated in, everything melted, and we'll get it in our shell. I think we've got it. Yeah, looks good. Alright, let's give it one good final stir here. Make sure you scrape your sides really well. And we will move back over to the other counter, and I'll get it into the pie shell with you guys. Okay, now, ouch, it's very warm, so be very, very careful. What you want to do is just slowly let it pour into your pie shell. Okay, let me get it smoothed out. And then one final step before we actually put it in the refrigerator is we want to put a piece of cling film, or it's also called saran wrap, plastic wrap. We want to lay it over the surface of the pie, and it'll prevent a film from forming over the top, which is it feels kind of gummy and nasty, and it's not good to eat. It just doesn't taste well. So to prevent that, we're gonna, very warm, drop this down over the top, and then I'm gonna let this slowly come to room temperature on the counter before I put it in my refrigerator. There we go. And I will see you guys tomorrow, where we'll put the topping on. Alright guys, we're back. We're going to make the topping for the pie. And we're going to start with 1.5 cups of cold heavy cream. And I've also got in there 20 drops of blue food coloring. The little bottle looks like that. Put 20 drops in there because we want this to look like Nuka-Cola Quantum on the top. Yeah, scrape that in. And we're also going to add in 3 tablespoons of confectionery sugar. And 1/2 teaspoon of orange extract and 1/2 teaspoon of lemon extract. And then we just need to mix this up. We want to mix it until it forms a stiff peak, but we don't want to over mix it because then we'll have butter instead of whipped topping. And this will just take a minute or two. Sorry for the noise, my mixer's getting pretty old. Yep, we've got some stiff peaks, so I think we're done. Let's. I'm going to move you over to the other counter where I have a little bit more room, and we'll be back in just a second. Okay, I've got this out of the refrigerator and out of the springform pan. I'm just going to slowly move the take the plastic off there. And then we just need to put our whipped topping on top. It smells really good. Oh, it's going everywhere too. I think that looks pretty good. And there we go. This is the Mississippi the Mississippi Quantum pie. A slight variation on the Mississippi mud pie. I can get through the crust here. I think I need a better knife. And you really don't want a lot of this. It is extremely rich. Liberate this piece from the rest of it there. There we go. Well, a small piece of it came out. Move this over so you guys can see. There we go. And that's what it looks like after you slice it up. It's actually really good, very rich. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys tried this recipe. If you would like to see more of the Fallout cookbook recipes, leave me a comment down in the comment section. Subscribe if you're new, and leave a thumbs up on the video. I've been Vault Girl, and I hope to see you in the next one.